Inside, he didn't just find gold. It was an $84 million jackpot that shook the entire history of the gold rush. Parker Schnabel, the boy who was once known as the kid who took over his grandfather's business, has now become the king of the gold mining world. His success is not a one-day story. It started when he was just a teenager and made the big decision to take over his grandfather, the great John Schnabel's mine in the dangerous, icy land of the North. But this time, Parker's fate took him to a mine in Alaska, where no one even thought of going. Years ago, a major accident had happened here. The tunnels had collapsed, and since then, the place had become infamous as a death trap. But Parker had a secret, information that inside the mine, beyond the collapsed paths, there was such a huge treasure of gold that if it came out, it would become the biggest jackpot ever. Some say this gold was part of a secret operation which was never revealed to the world. When Parker and his team reached inside, there was fear at every step. The roof could collapse at any moment. A strange smell of dampness and metal, the sound of dripping water, and darkness visible only in the light of the torch. Then suddenly, the light caught something. Gold so big, so clear, and so shiny that everyone's breath stopped. But the question is, did Parker really bring this gold out? Or is this story hiding a much more scary truth than just gold? The real reveal will be in this video. And believe me, you won't want to miss it. So if you don't want to miss this secret, then subscribe to the channel now and turn on notifications. Parker Schnabel's story is nothing short of a movie. The Parker you see on TV today, who deals in millions of dollars in the world of gold mining, started out in a small town called Haines, Alaska. Parker's childhood was spent in the cold and harsh land of the North, where snow, mountains, and forests were a daily sight. From childhood, Parker loved spending time with his grandfather, John Schnabel. John was no ordinary man. He was a legend who had earned fame in the world of gold mining for years. Parker would go straight to his grandfather's mine, Big Nugget, after returning from school. There he would see huge machines, digging trucks, and the process of extracting gold. All this was nothing short of magic for Parker. When Parker was just 12 years old, he tried to operate a mining machine himself for the first time. The machine was so big that the little boy sitting in it looked even smaller. But Parker had a strange passion. He hadn't come just to play or watch. He wanted to learn. John also started giving him small responsibilities: where to dig, how to wash the gravel to extract gold, and how to work with the team. By the time he was a teenager, Parker decided that he would not just be a spectator, but would lead the operation. But it wasn't easy. At this age, when most kids are busy with school, games, and friends, Parker was dealing with real business problems like heavy machinery, fuel costs, and team salaries. In the beginning, Parker made many mistakes. Sometimes he dug in the wrong place. Sometimes the machine broke down. Many times the gold was much less than expected, which broke the team's morale. But Parker's biggest quality was he never gave up. He learned from every failure and worked more intelligently the next time. The biggest turning point came when Parker took over the entire mining operation in place of his grandfather. That too, at a time when he was still of college-going age. Parker invested his $100,000 college fund to buy new gold mines. This move seemed crazy, but Parker was sure that it would be worth the risk. It was not easy to lead a team and machinery at a young age. Many older and experienced people did not take him seriously initially, but Parker proved that leadership comes not from age, but from courage and brains. Gradually, he won the trust of the team. And the child who once used to stand in the corner of the mine and watch, today started standing at the front and making decisions. This is Parker's backstory. A small-town boy who learned from his grandfather, improved from mistakes, and by taking risks, made his name immortal in the world of gold mining. There is a mine in the cold and snow-covered mountains of Alaska, which people have known as Death Mine for years. The real name of this mine is something else, but among the local people, it is known only by one name. A place where going means inviting death. This mine was once famous for gold, but now it is known only for fear and accidents. The story begins several decades ago, when the gold rush was in full swing in Alaska. Mining companies and local miners were digging here vigorously. The tunnels of the mine were so deep and complex that it was difficult to remember the way out after going inside. But at that time, so much gold was being extracted that no one cared about the danger. Then came the day that made this mine Death Mine. During a big mining shift, suddenly, a part of the tunnel collapsed. Heavy rocks, soil, and broken wooden support beams buried everything in a few seconds. Many workers were trapped inside. Some died on the spot, and some were never found. Rescue operations lasted for weeks, but access to the interior was impossible. The mine was closed after the incident. The government put up an official warning on the mine: entry is strictly prohibited. Going inside is a danger to your life. The warning signs rusted over time, but people still tried to get in. Some of them returned, but there were many who went and never returned. Local rumors also make this mine even more scary. Some say that strange noises come from inside at night, like a rock shifting, or someone's soft screams can be heard. Old fishermen and hunters claim that this mine is cursed, and the spirits of the workers buried inside are still wandering around. Some people even say that the gold that was inside on the day of the accident is still there, but it is guarded by some kind of evil force. Years have passed, but people shudder at the mention of this mine. Mining companies also do not touch it, because not only is it dangerous, the atmosphere of this place is such that a strange fear enters the heart as soon as one goes inside. This is why when Parker Schnabel announced that he was going to the Death Mine, people were surprised and scared. Everyone started wondering, is this just a search for gold, or is Parker going to uncover some other secret that is hidden in the darkness of this mine? Parker Schnabel did not suddenly get the idea of going to the Death Mine. There was a secret behind it, information that was hidden for years, and he accidentally got hold of it. The story begins a few months ago when Parker was looking at some papers in an old mining office. There, he found some old boxes in files filled with dust and cobwebs. These boxes contained 70 or 80 years old mining reports, maps, and handwritten notebooks. Most of the papers were torn and blurred, but one of the files caught his attention. It had "Confidential, Do Not Release" written on it. Out of curiosity, Parker opened that file. Inside were detailed drawings of the mine structure and maps of the tunnels. One of these maps had a mark of blocked tunnel, and behind it was written "High Yield Deposit Zone," meaning there could be a lot of gold here. This was the tunnel that was closed after the accident, and no one tried to reopen it. But this is where Parker's interest grew even more, because there were some strange notes with these documents, in which it was written that on the day of the accident, the team had seen an unusual amount of gold in that part of the tunnel. The report also said that the quality of that gold was different and more pure than the rest of the mine. Apart from this, Parker also found some unsealed government documents, which mentioned the investigation of that time. It was clearly written in them that the reason for closing the mine was not just the accident, but also security and confidentiality. This line bothered Parker, because what can confidentiality mean in a mining operation? Then Parker remembered the rumors he had heard from local miners and old miners. People used to say that on the day of the accident, the workers had seen so much gold that if it had come out, the entire map of Alaska's mining industry would have changed. Some claimed that this gold was being extracted under a secret contract, and everything was suppressed after the accident. All these evidences and stories combined to form a single picture in Parker's mind: that gold is probably still present behind that blocked tunnel. And if that is true, then this could be the biggest jackpot of his life. This was the moment when Parker decided, no matter how dangerous it is, he has to open this tunnel. For Parker Schnabel, going to the death mine was no ordinary adventure. It was a planned mission, for which he prepared for weeks. He had realized that if one had to go there should be no compromise on safety and machinery. First of all, Parker gathered his team and told everyone clearly, "This place is no joke. Every step inside will be full of danger." He prepared his mining machinery list: heavy-duty drills, high-powered lights, portable support beams, and pumps to remove water. He also specially ordered hydraulic jacks to keep the tunnel stable, so that if the roof collapses at any time, they can be given immediate support. Parker left no stone unturned in safety gear. Every team member was given a full-face mask, oxygen supply unit, thermal suit, and a high-lumen torch on the helmet. He got a walkie-talkie system fitted in the helmets, so that everyone can stay connected with each other even in the dark and closed tunnel. But despite the preparations, fear was clearly visible on the faces of the team. In the meeting, a crew member asked, "Parker, is it really safe? We all know that people have gone into this mine and have not returned." Another said, "What if the tunnel inside collapses again?" Parker looked at everyone and answered directly, "Look, I will not lie. Yes, there is a risk, a big risk. But what is behind that tunnel can change our lives. So much gold that all of our names will be written in the history of the gold rush forever. And I believe so much gold, so much risk is worth it." The atmosphere changed a bit after hearing this from him. There was still fear, but the team realized that Parker was taking this step not just out of greed, but with a well-thought strategy. He assured everyone, "If the situation worsens, we will get out immediately. No one will try to become a hero, but if luck favors, then this will be the biggest day of our lives." The team then tested every machine and gear, made backup plans, and rehearsed the route to the mine's entry point. Parker knew that victory is for those who move forward despite fear. And this time, the stakes were not just gold, but history. Entry into the mine and the scary atmosphere. Early in the morning, Parker and his team were standing at the gate of the death mine. The cold air of Alaska was piercing to the bones, but the cold inside the mine was unmatched. As soon as the team stepped inside, a cold, wet wind hit their faces. Only a few feet could be seen with the light of the torch, and the rest was pitch dark. The temperature inside was several degrees lower than outside, and as soon as one breathed, it felt as if the lungs were filled with ice. The walls were wet, on which water droplets were slowly falling down. The sound of that water dripping was so deep and echoing that it seemed that someone sitting somewhere inside was throwing stones. The sound of the team's footsteps was echoing repeatedly in the tunnel. Old support beams were lying broken at various places, some half-bent and some completely rotten. Parker warned the team several times, "Don't go too close to them, they can fall any time." The path became more dangerous as we moved ahead. At some places, the water was so full that the team had to pass by submerging themselves waist deep. The water was as cold as ice, and its smell clearly indicated that it had been stagnant for years. But the strangest thing was the smell, as if there was a mixture of iron and some strange metal in wet soil. Parker knew this smell very well. It was the same one that is found around gold, but here it was a little stronger. In the light of the torch, small, shining particles were seen on the walls at intervals. If it had been someone else, he would have ignored them, saying that they were just glitter stuck in the stones. But for Parker, it was a sign, we are in the right direction. Some people in the team were a little nervous, but there was a different sparkle in Parker's eyes. For him, this environment was definitely scary, but at the same time, it was full of excitement. First clue to gold. After about an hour of difficult and tiring journey, the team reached a turn where the tunnel became a little wider. Parker moved forward, pointed the flashlight at the wall, and then suddenly he stopped. In the wall, between the rocks, something was shining that was different from the rest of the light, a clear glimpse of gold. Parker immediately went closer, removed the soil with his gloved hand, and there emerged a thick, solid piece of gold. "Look here," Parker called out excitedly. The rest of the team members also quickly came closer. Everyone shone the flashlight on that spot, and their eye sweetened. This was not a small flake, but a piece of real, high-quality gold, which was stuck in the rock. Parker had a big smile on his face, as if he was sure that he was in the right place. The enthusiasm of the team also increased. Fatigue and fear were forgotten for a while. Everyone felt that if there is one piece here, then there must be a whole treasure ahead. But Parker knew that the real challenge was about to begin now. Because after that piece of gold, the tunnel was becoming even narrower and dangerous. The walls were soft and breakable. Water was constantly leaking from above, and with every step, there was a fear that the next turn might prove to be the last turn. Parker looked at the team and said, "Guys, this is just the beginning. The real gold is still ahead, and we have to get it." Hearing this, the team adjusted their helmets, checked their torches, and slowly started moving forward in the darkness, where perhaps the biggest jackpot of their life was waiting for them, or something that they could not even imagine. The largest gold deposit. The tunnel had become even narrower and more dangerous. Every step had to be taken with caution, because the slightest mistake could collapse the tunnel at any time. Parker was in the lead, with a torch in his hand, and the rest of the team was following him. Suddenly, the tunnel widened a little, and a strange glow was seen in the air. Parker raised the torch and spread the light, and everyone's breath stopped. In front of them, among the rocks, there was a whole section filled with gold. These were not small pieces, but large, solid piles and nuggets of gold, half buried in the walls and the ground. As the torchlight fell on them, the gold shone, as if the rays of the sun had descended on the entire tunnel. Parker slowly moved forward, picked up a nearby nugget in his hand. Heavy, cold, and absolutely pure. Estimating the weight, he said, "It must be at least 20 pounds, and there are dozens of such pieces here." The rest of the team was also surprised. Someone said, "This is the biggest jackpot ever." Parker took a deep breath and said with a smile, "No, this is not just the biggest jackpot ever, but the biggest jackpot in the history of the gold rush." The quality of the gold was also amazing, almost 99% pure, without any major impurities. This was the level that could sell for the highest price in the market. Parker realized that if all of it was taken out, It could be worth more than $84 million. But then Parker's attention was drawn to something else, which was even more strange and mysterious than gold. Unexpected discovery. Revealing the secret. Right next to the pile of gold, a large crate was lying against the wall. It was not like any ordinary wooden box. It had thick metal strips fixed on it, and every edge was rusted. Parker took the flashlight closer and saw there were some old markings on the box. On one side was a government seal-like symbol made in faded ink, on which a few words could barely be read. U.S. government property. Restricted access. On the other side was the logo of an old mining company, which Parker had never seen before but had definitely read in the documents. A member of the team said in a low voice, "How did it come here? This must have been before the accident." Parker ran his hand over the box. Even under the thick layer of dust and rust, it was clear that it was closed tightly, and it would not be easy to open it. Strange numbers and codes were engraved on the edge of the box, which looked like a serial number or a military code. Parker suddenly remembered the line from those old documents. Secrecy was also the reason. Perhaps this box itself was the real reason for that secrecy. Searching for gold was Parker's real motive. But now the matter had changed. The question was, what was in this crate? Is there more gold? Or is it something that should not even be in government records? There was silence in the team, only the sound of water dripping in the tunnel, and everyone's heavy breathing could be heard. Parker looked at everyone and said, "Friends, we have to take this out. But remember, this is not just gold. It is probably a secret, and this secret can be bigger than we think." Hearing this, everyone understood that Parker has now started such a search that will not only change the story of the gold rush, but will also probably reveal many old secrets of Alaska's mining history and the government. Now, the real game had begun. Climax and the question ahead. The atmosphere inside the tunnel was so tense that no one knew what the next step would be. Parker and his team now had two things in front of them. On one side, that huge gold deposit, and on the other side, that mysterious sealed crate, about which no one had any idea what was in it. Parker took a deep breath and said, "We did not come here just to extract gold. Now we have something that may be more valuable than gold." Both fear and curiosity were clearly visible on the faces of the team. After a brief discussion, they decided that they would take out both the gold and the crate. But this task was not easy. The path was narrow, the roof could fall at any time, and the water was slowly rising. Parker told the team, "We will hurry, but carefully. We have to take all this out." After many hours of hard work, the team finally came out of the mine. As soon as the cold air outside touched his face, he realized that he was still alive, and the things he had brought with him could change his life. But Parker did not reveal anything after coming out. He just said in front of the cameras, "This story is not just about gold, but it is the beginning of a secret that may change the world of Gold Rush forever." At the end of the video, Parker's words echo, "Friends, what we have found today, you will get to see in the next episode. I promise, what you will see will blow your mind." The camera slowly focuses on the sealed crate, which is kept behind the truck. Rusted edges, old government seal, and the dim light of the torch on it, as if it is telling a story itself. A voice comes. "If you want to know what was inside that box, then subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Next revelation, soon." As the screen goes black, only the sound of dripping water and the hum of mining machines coming from a distance can be heard. and the suspense is left incomplete.